Hey guys, welcome to the Powerful Man Show, where we help married businessmen save their marriages without having to talk about it, get unstuck, and gain clarity in their lives. As I like to say, life is too short for average. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Now let's get this started.
So, gents, welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I am here with Mr. Dougie Fresh, the Shark Master Jam himself. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Having a great day. Headed to the TPM Ranch here after this podcast. We're getting things ready.
Nice.
As you know, but the listeners may not know, we are literally flying all of our staff. So, guys, you don't probably realize this. You probably just hear the two of us on the show and some of the guests that we'll bring on, which will be expanding. But we have 27, I believe it is, full-time staff that will be coming out. Not everybody's able to make this trip, but that make the Powerful Man movement possible. Now it's coaches, operations, client success, and on and on and on. So we're going to have a shindig for these guys, and they're going to be coming to the TPM Ranch in Central Oregon. So we've got 106 acres we've secured for the ranch, so we can hold more retreats for business leaders like yourself, and it's going to be a really good time. I'm excited, Tim.
Me too. It's going to be incredible. We're going to give them roughly 3 acres each to go and plow and nurture and really look after, and it's going to be a great time.
It's certainly an
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah. No, it's going to be great having the men come out as well and meet some of the team that have played such a key part in impacting these guys' lives is just going to be really cool to give back to the team in that way and have them to be able to interact and meet the men face to face, because they don't always get to do that given the fact that it's online. They don't always get to come to the amazing events that we do in different parts of the world. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm incredibly grateful just for everything, really, what we get to do, how we get to do it, who we get to do it with, where we get to do it. So to be able to be there with the team, with the men at the ranch, with you, be a bit of a dampener with you, but everything else will make it a really enjoyable experience. So I'm very much looking forward to it, and it's going to be great. So anyway, moving on. I just got off a call with the men in the inner circle every Wednesday just before this podcast. I'm on with those guys. And I know I say this every time, but they're rocking. They're just doing so well. And I'm going to give some specifics here because there's 2 key lessons I really want to highlight from that call that really struck a chord with me. And I'm going to share them with you, Doug, and then I'll get your take on them. And I'm sure you've seen these come up for you in coaching the men, and obviously we'll just riff on it from there. So anyway, we had Animal. Obviously, you know, Animal is Doug, amazing man. One of the wins he was sharing was the way in which he handled some disconnect between him and his wife. He recognized it. His wife came up to him and kind of said, "Hey, what's going on? What's wrong?" And in the past, even 90 days ago, what he would have done is he wouldn't have been honest. He would have pushed down essentially what was going on for him. And he would have come into the private channel with all the rest of the Wolverines in there and been reactive and annoyed and frustrated and complained really about the lack of intimacy and disconnect that was existing in that moment between him and his wife. Right? In that moment, could have been a day, 2 days, whatever, varies. But instead, this time around, he held firm and just shared with her, "Hey, there's some distance between you and I. I just feel it. I love you. I love our relationship. I'm not saying there's anything wrong in that sense. I'm just feeling some distance between us right now." And he just handled it in such a great way. Later that night, they went for a date, and his wife had been more affectionate and been doing various things. And she said to him, "Hey, how are you feeling now? Are you feeling a bit closer? Is this better for you right now?" And she just wanted to make him happy. She just wanted to meet his needs. He didn't tell her to do anything. He wasn't complaining. He wasn't throwing his toys out of the pram. He wasn't there was none of those things going on. And they had a great night of intimacy. He shared the distance while remaining connected to her, and he did it from a very calm, grounded, strong, loving place, which meant she didn't feel criticized. She just recognized, oh, there's something off here. Let me try and fix that. I just think that's huge. And I said to him, hey, look, 90 days ago, consider where you were 90 days ago, how you would have handled that exact situation. Look at how you're handling it now. You guys are talking about renewing your vows. You're taking all these great trips together. And he said, holy shit, you're right. I didn't even think about that. Like 90 days ago, yeah, I was a completely different man in that relationship, how I would respond and react to things compared to now. And he was blown away. And the same thing happened with two of the guys on the call. They were sharing the wins, and I said the same thing. Hey, consider where you were 90 days ago. And again, same thing. Insight. Oh my God, it was tangible. You could feel it on the call. So the first thing I want to touch on before I move on to the second point here is that the power and potency of reflection, right?
Yeah.
Being in group of men and being able to being in a group of men where you can have a mirror held up, but also being able to see that shift over that period of time. Because week to week, it doesn't feel like a great deal, right? But actually, if you look back, it's huge. And the other thing, one of the other men on the call, Force and Nature, he's just come through a really challenging time in his business where he's had to step back in to lead it out of a lot of the struggles it was experiencing in the day to day. So he took on certain roles, his schedule got quite full, and he's now coming out of that. So I asked him, so what are you going to do to celebrate? He's like, what do you mean? Like, listen, Tony, you've stepped in and you've shown up in a big way for your team, right? So what are you going to do to acknowledge yourself and celebrate yourself? Whether you do it today or whether you put something on the horizon for a few weeks' time, once this person's fully onboarded in their seat, what are you going to do to acknowledge how hard you've worked, how hard you've chosen to show up for your employees, for your company, for your family? Because as business owners, no one ever acknowledges the business owner. Everyone always acknowledges, well, they spend their time rather always acknowledging everybody else, always pouring into everybody else, celebrating the team, celebrating their family, their wife, whatever it may be. And it can become quite lonely, right? And kind of hollow. If they don't blow their own horn or toot their own horn from time to time, it doesn't need to be public, but even in private, and say, patting themselves on the back and saying, hey, good job, well done, dude. Look at what you've done. Be proud of yourself. And just give themselves something, whatever it may be, a trip, a car they want to, well, he chose a car, but it didn't have to be as grand as a car, but you get the point, right? Just giving yourself something, treating yourself. And that's the other point. I think it's very easy to just skip on because he was saying, yeah, I was just going to skip on to the next thing. I was just going to move on and keep going. And again, taking those points in time, which kind of alludes to the previous point, to be able to recognize how far you've come, but also then as a business owner, to give yourself that pat on the back because nobody else is really going to do it without feeling bad about it. Because I think that's something else that often comes up for the guys. I feel bad about it. Without feeling like it's coming from arrogance or ego, because it isn't, but instead allowing it to really fuel your confidence and sense of self and have a great deal of appreciation for yourself for how you've shown up for yourself over that time frame. So, yeah, over to you, Mr. Dougie Fresh.
Yeah, no, celebrating all of those guys. I mean, the inner circle, for those that don't know, is our highest level group mastermind that we offer. So these guys are all playing at a high level. And it kind of reminds me when I think of the inner circle, Tim, is, I grew up playing soccer, football where you live, and I know you did as well. And when I got decent at it, I noticed that when I played with people who weren't very good, I always played down to their level, right? I played worse, the way I passed the ball, the way I move around the field, et cetera. I played down. Now, when I played with people who were better than me, I have two older brothers as well, who are 7 and 10 years older. So I played with them and their friends growing up. I always rose to the occasion. Now, I wouldn't be as good as them, but I would rise. My level of play would come up. And it would be harder, right? Playing with people who are better than you is a big ego check. It's harder on your body too, right? You're probably a little rougher. There's all kinds of things to take in. And these guys in the inner circle are doing that. They're playing up to a higher level. And these guys are rising to the occasion which is such a
Mm.
cool thing to see. Their channel is, we have a private channel just for them. It is extremely active. I'm a voyeur on that channel. Every once in a while, I throw in a Giphy because I think it's fun. But most of the time, these guys are just really in there encouraging each other, and their growth is phenomenal. And one of the things you were talking about is this idea of reflection, especially as business leaders. We set these huge goals, or BHAGs, right? We've all read Jim Collins' book, a big, hairy, audacious goal. We set those things, we put our head down, and we get shit done. We crush it. And as soon as we're done, we're stressed out, we're tired. We exhale, and then we set the new one. We set the new goal, and we go after that. We do the same thing over and over again without taking time to actually reflect. Now, one of the things that we have our men do is they work through what's called the Businessmen's Chart of Intentional Living. We call it the COIL, right? Chart of Intentional Living. And within that COIL, there's a daily reflection process, a weekly, a quarterly, and a yearly reflection process, right? And this way you can look at what's happened. Just like in business, you can't move forward unless you have accurate data. Your personal life's the same. Your relationship is the same. Your marriage is the same. You need to look at where things went wrong, but also where things went right. And you need to celebrate those things that went right, because what you're doing is you're activating your subconscious. You're telling your brain, yes, give me more of this, right? And so your subconscious brain, which works, I don't know, the processing, it's like a billion times faster than your conscious brain. It's crazy. You guys can all Google it, right? But that subconscious brain is going to start to work towards getting you more wins. It creates a snowball like effect, but you have to do it. You have to reflect. Just like Animal was talking when you had him reflect back on where he was, it's like, holy cow, or Force of Nature, right? These are all these guys' nicknames. We're not going to use their real names here on the show. But those guys, when they take time to reflect at how far they've come, it's been amazing. I mean, Force of Nature's been with us like almost 4 years, I think, through the programs. And to remember when I first met him to the man he is today, is night and day. I consider him one of my closest friends. I don't get to talk to him as much as I'd like to, but that guy has grown just leaps and bounds. I mean, and it's amazing. I smile just thinking about it. And I look forward to having a pint of Guinness Zero with you, my friend, when I see you. But that is just the kind of things you're doing. But you got to surround yourself. You've all heard the slogans: iron sharpens iron, or you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You pick whatever personal development book or even religious text will talk about this. And that's what these men are doing, right? They're sharpening the iron with each other, but also within themselves. And Tim, I think you did a great job, something you do really well. One of the things I admire about you is you take your reflection process very seriously. And that's a great thing. And that allows you to course correct along the way, right? And that is something that all of us get to do.
Mm. Yeah, to your point, for me personally, when I was going through, well, the first 26 years of my life, 27 years of my life, did not go to plan. And there was zero reflection. Zero. And since then, for me at least, whenever the happiest periods of my life are when I've got consistent reflection. It, I'm not saying that the periods when I experience the highest volumes of cash or whatever it may be, sex or whatever, it's kind of irrelevant at that point, because all those things are vehicles to happiness, in my opinion, anyway. Right? Why do we want all those things? Well, we want them because of what we think they're going to give us. They're going to give us a sense of fulfillment or happiness or freedom or whatever it may be, right?
Yep.
Typically, those things do tend to happen a lot more easily as well when I am in periods of reflection. Equally, on the flip side, look, it's one of those things. It's very easy to do and very easy not to do.
Yeah.
So when I do let it slip, I'm like human, like everybody. It slips from time to time, and it can easily slip for a day, turn into 2 days and 3 days. And there's a drastic difference in my mood, my clarity, my irritability, and all sorts. It's just night and day. It's huge. So, so yeah, I love that all the men do. Obviously, follow their reflection, like you said. The chart of intentional living is what they use. But yeah, it's just huge to just see them today trying to find the wins. They're just going to skip by it as well. oh, that thing, that animal's interaction with his wife, huge win, massive. I just thought back to those messages that we used to get like 3 months ago, 4 months ago. He would be
Yeah.
raging, right? Quite rightly. And the difference now is just incredible. Literally night and day. So kudos to him for doing the work. And I love that he saw it. And the action step that he's taken between now and next week is to write a letter coming from the 1st of September, looking back over summer and all the things he's accomplished over summer and the lessons he's learned over summer, and just basically reinventing himself again, leveling up and looking back from that perspective. And again, the theme of reflection, right? Is huge. And again, force of nature, just rewarding yourself. That idea of rewarding yourself, business owners, which so often just sacrifice. We're used to doing it, right? Sacrificing ourselves to get
Yeah.
what we want. And at the
Big
same
Sexy does a
time,
good job of that too.
oh, he's amazing, yeah. Um, at the same time, it's like what comes first, winning or feeling like you're winning, right? So the idea of rewarding yourself is a great book. Ice cream for breakfast. It starts off with this person sharing how when certain things happened in this person's life, and then they went through a period of when they went to a restaurant, they'd order dessert first. Well, why save the best thing to last? I want the best thing now. It's just that philosophy. So yeah, just to see the guys rewarding themselves, especially Force of Nature, for the way that he's shown up consistently, I think is really important and a lesson we could all learn from.
Yeah, and so for the guys listening to this, when you look at your reflection, right? So, I believe that where we are today is the result of the little things, some big ones, right? So you could have some, if you're looking at a relationship, it could be an affair, it could be, but what led to that? It's a lot of little things. But you need to reflect on what those little things are, and you need to reflect often. And by reflection gives you the starting point and your ability to course correct. So you got to do this and do it in your business. Within the Powerful Man organization at various levels, we've had daily, weekly, and monthly reflections from the whole entire team, and for what the team is doing. So you can do those reflections. You can have an end of day reflection of your team. Let them reflect back on their wins or whatever else it is. One of the first things I do when I'm coaching one of our one-on-one clients, when I take on a one-on-one client, is we'll have them report 5 wins each day. Sounds weird, right? And honestly, a lot of guys, most guys can't do it. Now, these are borderline brilliant. I mean, they're really, really intelligent people. One-on-one coaching with us is a six-figure commitment, and it's a big time commitment, right? We're going deep. And when you ask these guys who are very intelligent, give me 5 wins every day for 30 days, a lot of them can't do it. And it's not because they can't be consistent. It's because it's very difficult. The programming in their mind is on negativity, right? And they're not negative people by nature, but they're so used to solving problems, 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 problems. And that's what's gotten them really good at business. But it's also what's really hurt them in their marriage. It's really hurt them in their personal relationships in their lives. And they have a hard time finding this consistency. And it's with this reflection and setting your course, right? Setting your direction, 30 days of finding 5 wins. And all of you guys can do this right now. Right? You don't have to pay 6 figures for a coach to walk you through this process. Do it today. But most guys don't. They get tripped up. And then we work on the programming. What's the programming that's causing this? That's causing this to trip up. It's not intelligence. It's not lack of time. So therefore, it must be something else, right? It's subconscious programming. And that's something we dive deep with the guys in the brotherhood, the inner circle, and our one-on-one clients. But you have to have the reflection. And with reflection can also come celebration, right? You want more dessert, right? If your reward is the hard work you're doing, you're getting dessert, you're gonna get more wins, guys. Your body and your mind, they're gonna find ways for you to win more. Now, this can be in your relationship with your wife. This could be with your kids. This could be at work. This could be in financial, your wealth. But you got to find those wins over and over and over again. If you're always looking for the negative stuff, there are actually studies that show it lowers your immune system. You're going to get fatter,
Mm,
you're going to get less healthy, you're less vibrant, and you're not going to be a fun person to hang out with. You got to find those wins.
mm, I love that. Great point.
Well, gentlemen, whether you're in the inner circle, whether you're in the activation method or an alumni, find your wins. Find your wins, record them. And what's better in this, and the guys in the inner circle are getting this, is when you share those wins with others, it drives it home into your DNA. There's something about that sharing, especially when you're sharing with high-level performers, that drives it deeper, deeper, and deeper. And guys, if you're struggling out there right now and you're a little lost, a little stuck, especially in the area of your marriage, I'm going to encourage you to jump on a call with one of our advisors. There's no charge for that. They'll give you an insight. They're going to look at your situation, see what's going on for you, and see if the activation method for relationships is for you. It is a methodology, a proven methodology that thousands of other business owners just like you have gone through. Right now, it's only open to business owners and executives of bigger companies. We're looking at opening up in the future. Right now, that's what we can do. We limit it to 9 men per group, 9 men only. So if you want to get in, just get on a phone call. Make that phone call happen, get off the fence, and I want to see you reflecting on your wins so you can look back like Animal and see where your wife is now stepping up to serve your needs because you have done the work. Gentlemen, as we always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. We'll see you next time on the Powerful Man Show. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. But as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. You see, there are 2 types of men that listen to a podcast like this. Those that go on from one podcast or show to another, just hoping things are going to change and realizing that they're going to be in the same place month after month, year after year. You see, I was this guy, so I completely get it. You may just not be ready. But there's also a second man that listens to a show just like this. And this is a guy who takes massive action so they can shorten the learning curve, compress time, and get results to be the wolf. See, wolf is an acronym for wise, open, loving, and fierce. Now, ask yourself, which one am I? And just be honest with yourself there. And there's no judgment on my end, but if you're ready to move from deactivated deer mode, which is defend, excuse, explain, react, to activated wolf, wise, open, loving, and fierce, then go over to thepowerfulman.com/grow and go there now. In fact, I'll make it super easy for you. I will even put the link right in the description here so you can just click it and go over there now to learn more. Guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Go from deactivated to activated because like I said, life is too short for average. And I'll see you on the next episode.